Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, giving you your daily dose of the roars as I talk about the stupid stuff going on in the technology world so I can fund a Silicon Dojo. Free to the end user, hands-on technology education in Durham, North Carolina. We just had a class on AI and web scraping last night. We have many more classes coming down the pike. If you're interested in attending an in-person class, take a look at silicondojo.com to see what our current schedule is. If you want to support the projects I do, there's a donor box link down below. And with that, let's get into this particular story, which is so curious. So curious. It's funny doing these stories, talking about the tech world. You do not know how many times a day it's like, wow, yeah, I hadn't thought about things in that particular fashion. Oh, that makes it just seem so much worse. So anyways, a big thing going on in the Trump administration and before him in the Biden administration is there's this idea of bringing more chip fabrication into the United States. We need to fab more chips. TSMC is the leader in chip fabrication, and so one of the big wins, under both Biden and Trump, is that they brought TSMC into the United States so they can set up their fabs in Arizona. Wouldn't it be sad? And wouldn't it just be 2025, really? If the reason that TSMC actually set up their fabs in Arizona was to kneecap Intel? What if the reason that the Taiwanese company TSMC is setting up fabs in the United States is to very literally kneecap US technology companies? Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be hilarious? And yeah, it looks like that might actually be what's going on. And when you listen to it, you're like, oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that before, but sounds about right. Anyways, who is this? Tom's Hardware or WCCF Tech? If TMC hadn't invested heavily in Arizona, the US government would have been forced to back Intel, claims Taiwanese official. So the big thing going on in Taiwan right now is the Taiwanese people and the Taiwanese government is having a bit of a shit fit because TSMC is setting up these fabs in the United States. Right? So basically, this is seen as intellectual property drain on Taiwan. Taiwan being a major semiconductor producer, manufacturing country. This is considered a protection from being invaded by China. And so when you see TSMC start building fabs in the United States, this rightfully concerns the Taiwanese politicians and the Taiwanese people, because basically does that mean their card, the ability to get the U.S. to care about them, is basically being drained to the U.S. And apparently what TSMC is coming back with is like, oh, no, actually, this is not Taiwan losing technology. This is Taiwan kneecapping the shit out of American technology. So yeah, when I talk about our politicians in the United States being really fucking old and needing to fucking retire, this is why we should not have 80-year-old presidents. Because some of the stuff is a wee bit more complicated than either dead or senile presidents can quite grasp. And so yeah, anyways, this is very 2025. You just look at this. You're like, how do I explain this? It's 2025. It's 2025. TSMC's interest in the U.S. chip industry has been viewed skeptically by the Taiwanese people and officials who consider it a potential technology transfer to the U.S., right? And this is a big concern for Taiwan. More importantly, most of TSMC's client base consists of American companies such as NVIDIA, AMD, and Apple, which demonstrates that the U.S. policies and conditions are vital to the Taiwanese chip giant. According to a report by the Taiwanese media outlet CT, quoting Taiwan's former EU envoy Roy Chun-Lee, one of the reasons behind TSMC's investment in the U.S. was to divert the U.S. government's attention away from Intel. Quote, if Taiwanese people oppose TSMC's investment in the U.S. and demand that it remain in Taiwan, Li Chun said, that would damage the trust between TSMC and its customers, and the U.S. might then go all out to support Intel. Quote, we shouldn't force others to support TSMC's competitors. So Intel is seen as a viable competitor that currently has a bum hamstring or whatever. And so basically the idea here is that if TSMC didn't move fabs to the United States, that the US government would be forced to invest more into Intel to basically reinvigorate Intel as a global player that would then be a competitor to TSMC. Good news, everybody, good news. Those billions and billions and billions of dollars we are putting into the chip industry so the United States can manufacture more chips, that's basically guaranteeing that our own native chip industry is kneecapped. When you look at TSMC's influence over the U.S. chip industry, it's evident that the company's investments became, quote, necessary at one point, considering that American customers would prefer a stable supply chain. The Taiwan official mentions that talks around TSMC's massive $165 billion investment started under the Biden administration, as the idea was to capitalize on the semiconductor industry's interest in shifting its production lines to the U.S. And by the looks of it, another reason for TSMC's large-scale investments was to prevent Intel from gaining attention. So yeah, there you go. There you go. So 2025. This is the true genius of the policies you get from 80-year-old fucking presidents. Anyways, so that's what we got going on right now. And it is kind of interesting to be thinking about, right? So TSMC comes in, they start manufacturing the wafers, they start doing things that the US likes, and then why compete, right? TSMC, think about this. TSMC is so big, they've got such a big moat. If people are able to buy their products from them, right? And there's no issue, especially with tariffs or whatever else, why not just keep dumping money into a Taiwanese company? Oh, Lordy. So yeah, we'll be curious to see basically how this goes. We do have the Trump administration. Again, you may say, well, they purchased 10% equity in Intel. The problem with that, though, is, as I've said, what the hell does that actually mean? Right? If you're giving land to Intel, that's land they can build more factories on. If you're forcing the military to purchase Intel hardware, right? That's forcing demand for Intel to actually keep them up and running. One of the big things I don't understand with what Trump is doing is basically it sounds good. It sounds good to people who do not really understand tech. I'm not really sure how it's pushing the ball forward for Intel, though, which is kind of a curious thing to be thinking about. And so basically TSMC comes in, they build their fabs, all of a sudden everybody keeps going to TSMC. Intel flounders as a second-rate fab. Nobody else really gets into the game, and a Taiwanese company has now won. Yay, I guess. I don't know. What do you think about this? What do you think about TSMC actually investing in the United States? Not because their arm was really twisted that hard, but basically because they're kneecapping our local industries. Does that just feel very 2025 for you? I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. If you hate these videos, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing. Call me a dumbass. Just be a real Lutnick and put a strong American comment down below. Do realize I scream about the world of technology so I can get some of that money from YouTube so I can fund Silicon Dojo, authority-less, gatekeeperless, free, the end-user hands-on technology education that empowers you to do whatever the hell it is you want to do. We just did a class in Durham, North Carolina last night on AI and web scraping. We have another class coming up on AI, extending AI capabilities with REST APIs in a couple of weeks. We have a class coming up on Moondream for AI computer vision. All kinds of classes are coming up. If you're interested in those, take a look at silicondojo.com to see what our current schedule is. If you want to support the projects that I do, there is a donor box link down below. And with that, see y'all later.